Good morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We are here doing another community stand-up for the AllReady project for the humanitarian toolbox. We have a couple of us on the call today. We've got a few, and I guess we've made some technical progress in a couple of areas, and so we'll cover that. But more importantly, we had a really cool conference that we were able to take part in yesterday. And Tony, you were on site, so I'll let you start us off with that.
Yeah, so yesterday was the Grace Hopper Conference Open Source Day. And so us and 8 other organizations hosted projects and hosted teams. I forget the exact count, but I'd say we had about 20 plus or minus folks who were there. And we had a couple of mentors as well who were helping out because there's only so many of me and Jim who were able to kind of, float around and talk. So I want a big thank you to the mentors. And basically what we did is we had a group of folks, a good portion of which had never really done open source or open source contributions. And that's one of the things we really focus on at HTBox. We want to both create the software and solutions that get used as open source by the nonprofits. We also want to do our part of getting as many people sort of ingratiated and comfortable being part of open source, whether ultimately you contribute to one of our projects or any of the other projects that are out there for good technology, whatever that is. And so we spent a lot of time being frustrated by Wi-Fi, being frustrated by the giant denial of service attack that was taking down GitHub and other things, and once again presented with, as everything, I think is an XKCD comic, Git is super distributed version control, but yet when GitHub's down, there's nothing we can do. So we struggled a bit with that, but one of the benefits, actually, Crystal and Maria got up and talked about what they learned at the end. So again, big thank you to them. And one of the things they said, the benefit of it being down has actually caused some people's machines to not be lucky enough to get the stuff they needed ahead of time. And so they were able to pair up and work together and solve some issues. We have about 4 or 5 pull requests, which is pretty impressive, frankly. It's a maybe about 5-hour event. And so getting 4 or 5 pull requests, especially when a lot of folks were getting machines set up with slow connectivity and denial of service attacks, is pretty impressive. Now, the reality is only one of those pull requests was able to get to GitHub yesterday. So hopefully the other 3 or 4 will get posted today or tomorrow when people get home and have access. But it was a great honor to be able to be there, have about, again, 20 folks, help them get up on open source and then help them contribute to our project. So thank you to everybody who was there. Thank you to the mentors. And again, to Crystal and Maria who got up and presented alongside Jim. Jim from the Red Cross was there as well. And really talked about what they learned and how they worked on our project.
Right on. And yeah, like as you said, we've done a number of code camps and the smaller 3-4 hour workshops before. And what we are really excited about in general, what I think is really cool about HTBox is that
either James is holding very still.
Oh, I was worried that was me.
Yeah.
My internet cut out.
Yeah, it's impressive how still he's able to hold.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what he was going to say is, and I don't know even if this is still recording, depending on if his internet's down, but one of the really impressive things that we like to see is people get on the projects, get engaged, and then continue forward and contribute, because it's not just about that individual event. It's about continuing forward after that. And I know at least 4 or 5 folks yesterday said, they don't know about free time and whatnot, but they really want to contribute. They want to really be able to jump on and work on projects and issues going forward, which was great.
I think I'm back.
Oh, there's 2 of you now.
Yeah, we have you and we have Static James.
Okay. Well, my Google credentials expired mid-call, and it just booted me out and made me sign in again. So I have no idea what's going on there. But I don't know if you finished my thought, but what I was saying was one of the really cool things is just that we do get to encourage the open source development at a broader picture, not just what's focusing on what we're doing here, but we're really passionate about helping people learn Git and learn the workflow that's related to pull requests and all those things. Anyways, Dave, you had a pretty interesting conversation this week regarding date time.
Yeah, the conversation that never ends, it seems, about how should we handle date times, and how do we store them in relation to a campaign, and which time zone that campaign and the events in that campaign happen to be located in. So I think we've we have a pretty good understanding now of the problem space. I'm going to do a couple little samples that are kind of outside the scope of AllReady, because that's a pretty big project and it's hard to isolate the concepts when we're talking about the whole application. So what I'm going to try to do is create some little samples that just demonstrate exactly what's happening. So we have dates that come in from a web form in the UI when we're editing campaigns and events. Those get model bound into something in ASP.NET, some .NET type, and then we need to convert those into something and store them. And how do we handle it when the date comes back and we display it on the screen? So I'm going to do some simple little sample apps to demonstrate exactly what does happen throughout, so that it's well documented and we can kind of settle on an approach.
Awesome. That's great. On my side, I am working towards, we have one project that we had to split off and wrap it with the old Xproj hack that was required earlier on, because web jobs were previously not supported to run as .NET Core projects. So I've split those projects back, or I haven't split them, I guess. I've just recreated those in .NET Core targeting 4.6, and we will be getting those updated. The reason why that's important is, as we found out yesterday, when we have people coming to the codeathons and the working days and work groups and things like that, and they show up with a Mac, we totally want them to be able to contribute to the project. Unfortunately, there's some boundary issues that we've got in that you can't compile things with .NET 4.6. So what we've done is we've converted those projects, and that should open the door to people running natively on other environments and other operating systems. So that'll be cool. And of course, we've got some milestones coming up and some additional there's some additional dates. I know we've got some European dates now as well. Tony, do you have those handy by any chance?
I know that November 17th is, which event is this? Let me pull that up. I apologize. November 17th is a Dutch meetup that Richard Campbell will be at, and he'll be speaking about Humanitarian Toolbox. And then I want to find the dates, but I don't have them in front of me. Oh, wait, look at this. This just in, someone tweeted and mentioned us, so I was able to find it. I'm going to probably pronounce this horribly wrong, and I apologize. But on November 19th, I can pronounce that part right. There'll be a hackathon, and Rich Campbell will be out there as well. And that is .NET Zuid, and that's in the Netherlands. I think it's Eindhoven. But so we have the 17th, there's a meetup. On the 19th, there's a hackathon in the Netherlands. And then I know we've got a series of other stuff coming up. There's another one in November. I forget the exact dates and location. And then we've got stuff all the way through January scheduled at this point.
Right. And whether or not it's me by myself, or if we arrange something more formal, on November 11th and 12th, we will be doing something in Redmond as well. So that might be James at Starbucks, but it might also be with a bit of support there from some folks who've previously helped us out. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully that can be something a little bit more formal than that. But otherwise, I will get to enjoy the rain and the weather and the coffee of the location. So I will be in town until, I believe I leave Sunday afternoon. So I will be in Redmond looking for some folks to pair up with and get some work done on AllReady. So we've got that coming up as well. Anything else on the radar, guys, before we sign out?
You mentioned milestones, just real quick. We broke to the October milestone, and we've got a lot of progress done. We're focused on getting around requests and communications with the requesters or the individuals in the homes, the apartments, etc. We're real close in a lot of those. I know Mike McCarthy's doing a great set of work. You're doing some there as well, James. So we're real close. We'll close those out. Anything that we don't finish, we'll reprioritize against what we have for November. Our next milestone's about a month away in November, and that's going to be focused on the volunteer and sort of administrative workflow. How do we make sure volunteers get pulled in, they get connected to the right activities, they get the right communications, and then the administrator is able to kind of shift and align and get everybody set up for what they need to do and actually deliver on the day. That's about a month away for that milestone. And then between then and December, we'll focus on basically, the gap, anything that we need to fill in terms of bugs, issues, user acceptance stuff, so that we can go live in December, which we're super excited about.
Yeah, and I know Michael's also working on the concept of scheduled tasks and recurring pieces. So we're looking at bringing in Hangfire IO, and it looks like it's going to stand up okay inside Azure. So hoping that we can get we've reached out to them, and we're hoping that we can get a little bit of support from that team and see if there's anybody who can join in and maybe contribute a little bit and help us point us in the right direction, so we've got the least amount of friction possible, so that people can still get involved with AllReady without having to learn all the intrinsics of a secondary process that runs scheduled events and things like that. And part of the conversation there was about pushing that off into a different project, so that scheduled tasks and recurring tasks will happen in a separate project, and the bar for entry into that will be that you should have some base understanding of how Hangfire IO works, and that way we can keep those concerns separate from the main project. So but other than that, I think that's the radar, and the milestones are laid out on the GitHub site, as well as documentation. You can find the links below, as well as posts by Steve Gordon and Dave Paquette, who's on the call right now, walking you through getting connected with open source. And we're all available on Twitter and via the GitHub repo, so please don't hesitate at all to reach out. Okay, thanks a lot, guys, for joining us here on the call today. We will see you all next week, same bat time and channel. Cheers.
Bye.